Hello, this is how to install and use KDE on Linux operating system. This is the Wikipedia page. It contains the Ubuntu long-term support. In this case, it's 2204. And on top, the latest and greatest source code from the KDE project for the various versions of KDE Neon. User edition uses release tarballs of the KDE source code, whereas the editions which are more targeted towards developers use bug fix branches or even the master branch of the KDE Git repositories for the unstable edition. We're going to use the version that most people use, which is KDE Neon User Edition. Let's save locally the ISO file, and then we're going to create a virt-manager QEMU virtual machine where we're going to install KDE Neon User Edition. Downloading the ISO file, which is the installer for KDE Neon User Edition, has finished. Let's create a virtual machine. Let's open the virtualization software, which is called Virtual Machine Manager, virt-manager. File, new virtual machine. Let's select the ISO Neon User. In here we'll probably put Ubuntu, this guy. Ten gigabytes of RAM, 14 vCPUs. And this is KDE Neon. The newest motherboard, BIOS is better than UEFI. One CPU socket. The rest of the options are okay. Nothing to change. Begin installation. So the ISO should boot in live CD mode, and from there we can use the KDE Neon operating system installer, which is using Calamares. Graphical user interface wizard will install the operating system to the hard disk of the virtual machine. Welcome center from KDE Plasma. Install system. Correct language. New York. English US. Let's see what this thing does. Says that it's going to create a swap partition 10 gigabytes, which is the same size as the random access memory, or maybe a bit larger. The rest is going to be used by the KDE Neon operating system. And it's going to write to the MBR, to the master boot record, which means that it's going to probably be using MBR partition table, not GPT GUID partition table. Not sure though. And the installation has started. The virtual hard disk has been formatted. We have more details of the progress if we click on this icon, toggle log. We'll be back once the installation finishes. The installer has finished. We will reboot the virtual machine. Remove the installation medium and press enter. We'll press enter. Because virt-manager removes the ISO from the DVD drive automatically after the first reboot after the installation. We can see that there's no ISO in the DVD ROM drive. Okay, and now the KDE Neon User Edition operating system has booted from the virtual hard disk, the hard disk of the virtual machine. It booted into graphical user interface mode in the desktop manager SDDM. We can log in. This is the first time that KDE Plasma starts. It takes a bit of time to create the files in my home directory. This is the KDE Plasma Welcome Center. Let's see what happens if I click on VLC. It opens the KDE Plasma App Store, which is called Discover, Plasma Discover. And it's going to try to show me the page of the application VLC, which is a video player. And it managed to show me the page of VLC. I have the options of installing it from the KDE Neon apt repositories, which contain the Ubuntu 2204 LTS packages plus the Qt and KDE software built from source release tarballs. So this is the option for installing from deb packages from using apt in the middle. And then there is the option of using Flatpak FlatHub and using Snapcraft, the Snap Store. Let's actually install it from Snap. Install. So there's this progress bar, which shows a bit more of context, but unfortunately it doesn't show any text. Maybe no sub-processes are being started here. I would be interested to see the snap command lines. And it's generally, it's safer to install software. Does not matter which Linux operating system you're using. Does not matter if you're using Snap or Flatpak or maybe even app images. If you're installing them from the command line, you see the full progress, the correct error messages, the correct warning messages, the correct next steps to do after you install this software, etc. So it's always safer to install from the command line than to use a graphical user interface app store application. Let's install another software from another store. So let's install GIMP from FlatHub. I'm not sure why FlatHub is selected by default. The second option, Ubuntu Gemi Security Universe, should be selected by default because that's what was selected when I tried to install VLC. Why would it select FlatHub? So the priority should be, I'm not exactly sure. Or maybe keep the last setting of the user. If the user last time has installed from Snap, then keep Snap the default. Not sure. So let's go for FlatHub, Flatpak, and install this thing. Okay, the progress for Flatpaks is a bit more complete than for snaps. We have some numbers being shown. How can you install something with megabytes per second? You're downloading something with megabytes per second, hopefully. The installation of GNU image manipulation program from FlatHub has finished. Let's see some buttons in this page. Let's see the project's official documentation. Okay, so we went to the correct web page. English US. So this is the HTML multiple page format where you have buttons for next and previous. Other possible formats for graphical user interface applications manual pages are one page PDF and one page HTML. Okay, so that worked. Let's see if launching works. Let me configure it. Where are the buttons? Layers, this guy. Not easy to fit it in there. No! Yeah, so I needed to unmaximize the application to restore the window in order to be able to put the dock tool window for layers at the very bottom of the left tool pane. The rest of tool windows I do not need. Okay, so it seems to work well enough for me. Let's see VLC. Launch. Launch. Something's happening. So after a while, the computer's CPU's fan has started spinning, and I managed to start two VLC media player instances, so there's no support, no single instance support by default, probably. Let's see. No, so you can start any number of VLC media player instances that you want. Okay. What's next? So this is the KDE Plasma Welcome Center page that tells you that we have in KDE Plasma a app store, which is called Discover. And the final page. And finish. Let's see this package updates tray application, system tray. It's Discover, and it will install 3 packages related to curl, so 3 deb packages. Let's see if updating works. How do we do that? Restart the system to complete the update process. It's just curl. Reboot is not really necessary. Reboot is necessary when you update the C library and the Linux kernel, etc. Install updates and restart now. Okay. Let's do that. Preparing system update. So probably in KDE Neon, the support for offline updates is enabled, which means that updates will be installed during a operating system reboot. Before the reboot, during the reboot, after the reboot. This is GNU grub. This is the default timeout, which is, I don't know, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. So the bootloader waits for 20 seconds, then it selects the first entry in the bootloader. Okay, let's do the things that I usually do in any KDE Plasma installation. Mouse cursors, make them bigger. Fonts. Subpixel rendering, hinting full, and rendering RGB. And edge. And that's about it. Okay, so the operating system seems to work okay. I did not see any buggy dev packages yet. The system settings application works correctly. SDDM, the desktop manager, works correctly. The start menu works correctly. There's new versions of all of the KDE software installed currently. Let's actually look for that. In the system settings, towards the end, there's some system and then about the system. So it's KDE Framework 6.4, Qt version really recent release, and it's using the Wayland session, not the X11 session. And everything works snappy. Let's see copy details. Add to favorites, Kate. Don't show welcome page. And the correct information has been copied to the clipboard from system settings about the system. Copy details. So from system settings, we have started Info Center with this button in the toolbar. More system information. This is the application KDE Info Center. Let's see if we can make the application use half of the screen and system settings use the other. And what's the difference between these two? Hopefully they're identical. They show the same information, have the same icon, have the same title. And seem to have the same content. Okay. Unfortunately, Linux operating systems vary in the libraries that they have pre-installed, in the way they enumerate USB devices, hard disks, partitions, hardware, software, etc. And the Info Center uses those libraries and infrastructure that exist in the operating system in order to interrogate and get information about the Linux operating system. This energy, no energy information available on this system. So depending on the operating system, on the hardware, on, some of the things are not so easy to do in a generic way across all of the Linux operating systems. And KDE Plasma also runs and supports other operating systems except Linux operating systems. So KDE Plasma, for instance, supports FreeBSD. And then there are the Linux operating systems that don't use the technologies that are used by the majority of Linux operating systems. So, for instance, systemd or the GNU C library or GCC, etc. Such is the case with Alpine Linux, which uses Muscle C library instead of the GNU C library and doesn't use systemd, etc. And even the way you enumerate network interface cards. On some Linux operating systems, you do that with IP space A, the command line. In others, you do it with ifconfig. Firmware security. Legacy BIOS mode. How come there's no OpenCL in QEMU virtual machines that use virt.io? There's OpenGL, EGL, OpenGL, and Vulkan available. Okay, so we have the KDE Plasma desktop with a main panel, the system tray, show desktop icon, start menu, some applications which are pinned to the icons only task manager. We can unpin them if we want. Like this. We can add some applications to the start menu favorites, or remove them from here, remove from favorites. Pin to task manager. This is a confusing name, task manager, because task mgr.exe is the Windows operating system default application for stopping processes, the graphical user interface application that shows you the running processes. Everything's incredibly snappy. There's probably no 3D hardware acceleration yet. Everything's extremely snappy. And there's transparency inside the virtual machine. Some of these things were unconceivable 10 years ago. Okay, so KDE Neon comes with a selection of applications by default. There's the text editor Kate, image viewer GwenView, PDF viewer Ocular, Firefox the web browser, KDE Connect for connecting to mobile devices, and KRDP for remote desktop protocol client. And the default applications console for the terminal, Discover App Store, and Dolphin, the file manager. Spectacle for taking screenshots. There's the Help Center with offline product manuals, so product manuals that are installed on the hard disk, such as the one for Kate. Being based on Ubuntu, let's see why console is not pinned to the favorites in the start menu. So it says Ubuntu 24.04.1. The user that we have created during the installer has sudo powers, we can look at the list of deb repositories which are enabled in apt. So that's /etc. In /etc/apt/sources.list, we have the file which comes from Ubuntu 22.04, Jammy, and the 4 archives, or what's the name of these things, main, restricted universe, and multiverse. And then there's also probably sources for KDE Neon and for Mozilla Firefox. Let's fetch the metadata about available deb packages in these repositories. apt-update. This is the source for Mozilla Firefox. Let's install the latest deb packages which exist on the local machine installed but have newer versions in the remote repositories. Nothing. Package con update. Okay, let's do that. No packages to be installed. Let's see if apt auto remove works. Nothing, so we're completely up to date. We knew that because we have installed all of the 3 deb updates using the App Store KDE Plasma Discover. Let's install some software. Apt install Midnight Commander from the GNU project. So let's see. Sources.list has 3 times 4 archives with Jammy security, Jammy updates, main restricted universe multiverse from Ubuntu 22.04. And then in sources list D, there's Mozilla Team, a PPA for Ubuntu 22.04 with Mozilla Firefox. Because Ubuntu 22.04 comes by default with Mozilla Firefox as a snap package, and KDE Neon by default doesn't install any snap packages. So it needed to replace Mozilla Firefox, the snap package, with a deb, Mozilla Firefox, the deb package from this PPA, ppa.launchpadcontent.net/Mozilla Team. And then there's a file from MC-edit from the KDE Neon project, which says Jammy main, so just one archive, and also the SRC version, archive.neon.kde.org/user. So user is the name of the operating system, KDE Neon User Edition, and this archive contains deb packages, whereas this archive contains tarballs and other files which make up the source for building deb packages. So deb-src. And then there's this thing. What does it represent? Small pool of packages provided on your pre-installed file system. I'm not sure what this thing does. At some point, KDE Neon will switch from Ubuntu 22.04 LTS to Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. I'm guessing this year. I don't know. So you have Ubuntu 22.04 as a base, which allows you to install many third-party libraries and applications and binary applications and not open source applications. Let's see some of these. Microsoft Visual Studio Code, available as a deb. Other Microsoft software. Microsoft Edge web browser. It downloads a deb file. The integrated development environments from JetBrains. The online installer from the Qt framework, the Qt Creator integrated development environment, Docker. So there's a ton of third-party non-open source software, binary only, which is available for Ubuntu 22.04, commercial games, the Steam framework for gaming, which all of these third-party applications, which are available in binary format only. We do not have the source code for this thing. Runs correctly on Ubuntu 22.04 for AMD 64 x86_64. And this is what KDE Neon uses. So this is it. This is how you install and use the operating system KDE Neon User Edition. Thank you.